Hey guys, let me talk to you. Welcome to the Good Karma Sportfishing Podcast. I'm your host, Captain Ryan Van Fleet. So today I was in the process of going through a lot of photos with Melinda and some graphics as we're doing a rebranding for Good Karma Sportfishing. So you have to stay tuned to that. So as we're coming across, as you're digging through old digital photos and all this other stuff, Melinda actually found an old picture of me with a couple walleyes that I caught with my friend Todd on his boat on the St. Croix River in Minneapolis. So that's the picture in the thumbnail. And it brought back a lot of memories because it's the time of year for that, actually. We're good. We're about ready to see our first cold front in the Florida Keys, in South Florida. And it's snowing up north now. And I got a lot of pictures from my friends up there and family members. Hey, it's snowing. So it just brings back a lot of memories and how grateful I am to be where I am today. Because when Melinda and I moved to the Keys many years ago, we came down here during the first big recession. Okay. And I remember coming into the Keys, cold, rainy day for the Keys, and it was there was nobody here. And actually, a lot of the homes that we drove into the Keys and seen were boarded up, and it was just a different place than it is now. Meaning that it was just devastated from the first financial fall, I guess you can say. So, but we came down and my goal was to start a charter boat business during the recession when there's no business at all, okay? Anywhere. Uh, pretty crazy. But so as I moved forward down here, as I got started into the charter boat fishing industry, my side gigs that I had was I was like working in like, I had like no money, and like everything was going to rent and doing what we could to survive as far as making bill payments and all that other good stuff. So I was like, I took odd jobs. I remember one of the jobs that I got, I was working for a pest control company and I was doing bed bug removal down here and other stuff that was within that business. So Melinda took gigs babysitting at the Chica Lodge. We just did what we could to just pay the bills, just pay the bills, and without giving up hope of starting our business. So honestly, it was a very challenging experience. Okay. Very challenging experience. So when I finally had enough hours to where I could so I got my captain's license and all that other good stuff. And we took our last dime and bought the Good Karma. My goal was to during that time was to establish a affordable charter for people that were because it was a financial breakdown at the time, and people still wanted to go fishing, and it was a very challenging time for the United States and all over the world. So I was one of the first ones to start an affordable business, affordable charter for in my range. And there were a few other guys, but not many at the time. So I started my business and I didn't have any gear. Everything went to buy the boat, buy all the safety equipment, like all the other stuff that went into it. And then I was like, okay, I didn't have like rods or reels. And at that time, uh, I had some people down here that were very supportive that I met down here, and they're really cool folks. And they're just like, hey, you can use this rod, you can have it to get started. And they were older pins, and the reels weren't in the greatest shape, but I was very grateful because I could make them work. I could clean them up, do what I needed to do, got some spinners, got a couple trolling rods. And if any of you guys know me, you guys can see the big wahoos that I would catch using that gear. So it's not about the gear, okay? So for you guys starting off, just know that it's about the guy that's fishing. So just keep that in mind. So just know that you don't have to have all the fancy stuff when you're first starting out. And if you're in that position, okay? So I took it a little at a time. I was very grateful. And when I was and then I looked at that picture today, and I just remember fishing with Todd, one of my good friends from college. And I was in a position too where I just got out of school and I had a biology degree, and I was renting a room in an old house from a retired woman. And I was in Chicago, and that's all I could afford was to rent one small room within this house. So I couldn't buy fishing gear. I couldn't buy clothes to go fishing. So I really, and I was living in Chicago, so I was really strapped. I couldn't like go fishing. So my friend knew that I was suffering. Like he knew that without fishing, and like I had gone to school in Wisconsin and all we did was fish, and it was literally just taken away from me when I moved to Chicago. Um, but that's what we did back then. When we got a job out of school, you got a job, you did your thing, and I needed to pay off student loan debt. Everything else went to side. And I rented this little room, this shack, so I can get some work experience. I mean, it wasn't a shack, but it was pretty close to it. And all the other stuff that went along with it. That's another, I can write a book about that. So it's pretty crazy, actually. Pretty crazy time. But anyhow, so Todd would like always say, "Hey man," and he would motivate me. Said, "You gotta like get in the car, you drive up, I'll help you with your gas because I know you don't have any money." And I didn't. And everything I went for rent. So in a very small place, by the way, if I didn't mention that again, because it was pretty brutal. But I did what I had to do. Okay. So but Todd had me, he helped me out, and then when he come up, he'd give me some clothes to wear, like because it was cold. And I like that time, your Carhartts and all that stuff to try to keep the all the keep the elements off you to be able to go walleye fishing when it's cold out. So, and I was just so grateful just to go, and he had a boat, and he knew like the state of my mental health needed to be on the boat, and I wouldn't like, and he just helped me. He just helped me. I didn't have like anything, and I was like I didn't really recognize that at the time. Um because I was such good friends, and that's what friends did for each other, and they kind of helped each other out, and that's how I looked at it, and I did what I could, but um, it just takes it just I'm getting quiet because it really was something else. Some things that what he did for me was really cool. So I didn't have a rod, I didn't have reels. He let me use his rods, he let me use his reels, took me fishing. And we went fishing for a couple days. I'd stay at his house, and we would have a shore lunch and light a big fire. And what we do, we go. What was so fun about walleye fishing is that it's kind of like down here. You get a break, and yeah, they stop biting in the afternoon, and then they start up again in later in the day. So we would always go and then take. I always have brats, and we go on this island on up on the St. Croix, and we'd light this big fire, and we'd have a cookout of brats, and then take the pictures of the fish that we caught in the morning, and that's what you can see in the photos. There was and then we go back out and fish the afternoon and fish the rest of the time in the night. And Todd always drove because I was like the guy that always fell asleep. We all know that guy. So, but anyhow, so if you have like are in a situation like that where you're just starting out and people are like trying to help you, just I wish I would have said thank you more. I wish I would have been more grateful. I didn't really know how to express that at the time, and I just didn't. I was young. I was in my 20s, my 30s, even into my 30s, I still didn't recognize, and I anything about that kind of stuff. So if you have somebody in your life that's trying to help you out and trying to encourage you to go fishing, just know, that in the just recognize that and don't ever like forget to say thank you. And I always said thank you, and sometimes I wish I would have been a little bit more grateful at the time, but now I look back on it. And like I said, when I started out down here, I had people that helped me. They gave me a few rods, a few reels, and as I had a charter, I could afford to buy like some more line. I could like when I started, I couldn't afford to buy weights, so I improvised and did a lot of chum balling, and I just went a little bit at a time, and I did that for a few years. So I just scaled up the best I could. Everything went for gas in the boat. I learned, I studied, and that's what I did. I didn't like, I just grinded. That's it. I worked hard at it. So, and day in and day out. And yeah, there was a lot of frustrations and stuff, and things break, and I was getting like, it's like it's boats. So, um, but yeah, so it's just know that. And that's this time of year. I'm just looking back on this, and I had another guy I used to go fishing with. We call him Capt now, and he was a good guy. He went to college with me, and when I we would go fish Lake Michigan. He did the same thing for me. He knew I was in like a strap situation, and but he wanted me to come along and go fishing, and he did the best he could to put up with me at the time because I was in my 30s and I was kind of wild and like had just gone through a major breakup. And but he knew that fishing was good for me and he would like help me and say, "Hey, we're gonna go this weekend. We're gonna go fishing. We're gonna like this is what we're gonna do." So I look back on it and I was like, even then I was like didn't really understand about it, but what he was trying to do for me. And like, so and I learned a lot and I was so grateful. And I look back and so, but yeah, so nothing happens overnight, guys. And like I said, and I've been through it and a lot of you guys are going through it now. And it's a different world now. So, um, it's a time of year just to be grateful and thankful. And it's okay to like, even if you don't talk to them anymore, I do feel that sometimes if you like are really quiet and still and say thank you, that they can feel that, they can appreciate that. And then when they do reach out, which people normally do reach out, I try to reach out to them like once a year, and then you just, tell me you miss them, tell me that you're thankful. Um, and that goes a long ways. That goes a long ways. That goes a long ways with anybody. So, um, so right now we're in the process of rebranding and getting ready for our Black Friday sale with the courses. Now, I've always believed in keeping things very affordable. That's why I do my best to keep my charter prices where they're at as well. I do run full days and 6 hour days on my charters because 4 hours is not enough. Okay. And it's not fair. So I run 8 and 6 hour trips. I've done my best over the years to keep them where they're at, even with the fluctuation of prices of gas and insurance and all that other stuff that go into it. And so I still am there with that the best I can, and I don't plan on moving anytime soon as far as my rates go. Um, Now with the courses, we're doing a Black Friday sale that's going to reduce the price of the courses as well, make them a little bit more affordable for Black Friday. Um, Good time to jump in and buy a couple courses, check them out. We also have the Good Karma Sportfishing Rigging Crew 2.0, and that crew is $25 a month. And what I do in there is provide a monthly video, and I also have a live that follows up with it. Okay. And we just finished a brine video where it wasn't just about brine, okay? It wasn't just about brine. And if anybody that knows me, I know that I love to drop nuggets along the way in all my stuff because that's what I like to do because that's just who I am. So in the brine video, I dropped a lot of nuggets in there. You have to go back and listen if you're in the Good Karma Rigging Crew 2.0. And as well as in the Rigging Crew 2.0, they also got you get the rigging videos for the ballyhoo and with what I'm using as far as for wahoo fishing right now. It took me I was planning the full moon wahoo spread. That's something I'll talk about what I did was a lot different than I normally do going into this move. That's something I'll talk about in the future. So, um, okay. We said we've got the Thanksgiving sale coming up. We've got a rebranding of Good Karma Sport Fishing. And then and if you're looking to get involved with the rigging crew, it's $25 a month. And we are having our first meeting tomorrow night, Thursday. Also, too, get signed up for my newsletter, and I've got a bunch of freebies in the links below. So sign up for one of the freebies, and I'll put you onto the newsletter to keep you updated with what's happening with Good Karma Sport Fishing. And once in a while in a newsletter, I'll give a fishing report or something. But yeah, the best way to keep up with what I'm doing as far as fishing goes is to be on Instagram and then follow what I'm doing on there. And that's at Good Karma Sportfishing _FL_keys. Guys, that's all I got. Look forward to seeing the Good Karma Sportfishing Rigging Crew 2.0 members tomorrow night in the meeting. And that's what else we got. Yeah, that's it. I kind of rambled on. um, oh yeah, stay warm. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it's all good.